There's another mention of Timothy, the Hitler mustachioed Nazi sympathizer. Timothy. I don't know. Timothy is such like an innocent name. I don't know that the name fits him. Donald Trump is daily expanding his authoritarian playbook and going after media that he doesn't like. And this is yet another example. My name is Brittany Page, and I am the guest host for Jesse Dollemore today. I almost said my name is Brittany Page, and this is the Page perspective, because that's how I start my videos on my YouTube channel, which you can go subscribe to. I would love to have you join me over there. But in the meantime, I am here guest hosting for Jesse because he is sick, unfortunately. And there have been so many kind messages and comments asking where he is. I know so many of you miss him, and that is beautiful. I'm sure he would love to read comments from you, letting him know that you miss him and that you wish he will be better soon. I'm sure he will, and I'm sure he's eager to be back. In the meantime, we are talking about Donald Trump going after the media. And this is a really important topic because on this channel, as independent media, there is fear in our community of commentators that Donald Trump could go after us and that they will try to censor us, that they will try to make our lives difficult. And so when we see stories like this, we start to get a little nervous. Now, Donald Trump earlier this month signed an executive order targeting NPR and PBS. And in that executive order, the goal was to slash public subsidies and attack what he calls bias in the broadcasters' reporting. And we know that what Donald Trump considers bias is just like factual reporting, because what he wants from his reporters is obsequiousness. He wants to be surrounded by servile pets. And if you're not a servile pet, then it's really difficult for him. He gets really frustrated and angry because he wants the pets around him that he can control, who won't ask him difficult questions, who won't probe. So he's going after NPR, he's going after PBS. And actually, before we get into the attack on Media Matters, which is really scary, let's talk about a story from NPR that I don't think got nearly enough coverage. And it's a prime example of why Donald Trump is going after outlets like NPR. This one is, quote, multiple Trump White House officials have ties to anti-Semitic extremists. NPR has identified 3 Trump officials with close ties to anti-Semitic extremists, including a man described by federal prosecutors as a Nazi sympathizer and a prominent Holocaust denier. Now, one of these Trump administration officials is Paul Ingrassia. He's currently the White House liaison to the Department of Homeland Security, has ties to multiple figures widely known for promoting anti-Semitism. The article goes on to describe his passionate public defenses for a Hitler mustachioed Nazi sympathizer named Timothy Hale Cusinelli. They also talk about Paul's love and adoration for the Tate brothers, Andrew Tate, and also about this, again, White House liaison to the Department of Homeland Security, not just like a coffee errand boy, right? That he actually went to a rally, a Nick Fuentes rally. We all know Nick Fuentes. I think Jesse does those videos quite often. He's a prominent white power activist. Nick Fuentes uses racial slurs with joy, with glee constantly. He's an active white power activist, a racist. There's no confusion about this issue. So to have a White House liaison to the Department of Homeland Security going to a Nick Fuentes rally, which, by the way, he tried to say that he ended up there accidentally. I don't remember the phrasing in the article exactly. It was an accident that he ended up there. And that seems at odds with the fact that this Paul Ingrassia, he was tweeting about how voices like Nick Fuentes are important parts of the conservative platform, and that, he needed to be platformed again on Twitter when Nick Fuentes was banned. There's also Rachel Colley, the communications director for the White House Office of Management and Budget. And according to NPR, she, quote, served on the board of the Patriot Freedom Project. The nonprofit group was founded in direct response to the arrest of Hale Cusinelli on January 6th. Charges. There's another mention of Timothy, the Hitler mustachioed Nazi sympathizer. Timothy. I don't know. Timothy is such an innocent name. I don't know that the name fits him. She attended Timothy's trial. She sat with Timothy's supporters. She made public defenses of Timothy, the Hitler mustachioed Nazi sympathizer. And then there's also Ed Martin. They talk about Ed Martin. Of course, we know him, the failed nomination for the U.S. attorney for here in D.C. And that primarily failed, that nomination, because of his ties to Timothy. So it's an administration that's really just filled to the brim with people who have connections to racists and Nazis, or people who have publicly praised racist and Nazis, and people who themselves, given those other previously mentioned things, are themselves racist and Nazis. And then they try to tell us they're working overtime to defeat anti-Semitism, right? So what's happening now? The latest attack is on Media Matters, and if we look at this reporting in the New York Times, we get a glimpse of the gravity here. Quote, the Federal Trade Commission on Wednesday opened an investigation into Media Matters, a liberal advocacy organization that has published research on hateful and anti-Semitic content on X, according to two people familiar with the inquiry. The regulator said in a letter sent to the organization that it was investigating the group, which is aligned with Democrats, over whether it illegally colluded with advertisers, according to two people. The letter, a copy of which was seen by the New York Times, required the organization to share copies of its budgets, documents showing the effects of harmful online content on advertisers, and communications with other watchdog groups. Now, you may remember Elon Musk sued Media Matters in 2023. It was over this report, quote, as Musk endorses anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, X has been placing ads for Apple, Bravo, IBM, Oracle, and Xfinity next to pro-Nazi content. The report documents Elon's promotion of anti-Semitic conspiracies and Twitter's use of ads next to Nazi content on the platform. And this helped push the advertiser boycott when Elon Musk took over Twitter. And we know that, Elon put Nazis back on the platform. He put Nick Fuentes back on Twitter. That was one of his priorities when he took back Twitter. And I want to read from NPR reporting on this lawsuit. Quote, lawyers for Musk filed a lawsuit alleging Media Matters manipulated X's algorithm to manufacture images of advertisers' paid posts next to extremist content. Where Musk filed this lawsuit became something of a controversy since it was in the Northern District of Texas, where neither X nor Media Matters are located. NPR uncovered that the federal judge presiding over the case, Reed O'Connor, is a Tesla investor who has come under criticism for accepting forum shopping complaints or lawsuits filed outside of a jurisdiction in hopes of landing favorable treatment. And ever since this lawsuit, the legal battle continues, with Media Matters even having to lay off staff because of the funds that it's losing in this ongoing legal battle. And this is scary because people like Elon Musk have unlimited funds, unlimited power to eliminate speech that holds them accountable for their actions and behavior. And we already talked about some of the attacks on NPR, we already talked about PBS, and now Media Matters, but there have been other examples too, and we're gonna hop back to the New York Times right now. Quote, Mr. Trump previously signed executive orders targeting law firms that serve Democrats and other clients who oppose him, including by directing federal agencies not to contract with the firms or permit their staff into federal buildings. The president has also directed the Justice Department to investigate Act Blue, a digital fundraising platform used by progressive causes and Democratic candidates. The president of Media Matters suggested the investigation was an effort to intimidate the group. Quote, right-wing media figures holding key posts and abusing government power to target critics are two hallmarks of the Trump administration, he said in a statement on Thursday. Threats won't work. Our mission continues. Good. This is what we need, especially with the Trump-appointed head of the FTC here, Andrew Ferguson, leading the charge. Intimidation tactics are used to ensure obedience, to intimidate the media into obeying in advance so that they feel too afraid to hold the Trump administration accountable for their actions. And I can speak for myself. I won't necessarily speak for Jesse, although I think he would agree with me that as long as we are able to do so, we are going to talk about the facts. We are going to make an effort to hold power to account because it's so important, especially with the hourly 5-alarm fires happening under this Trump administration where they are flooding the zone, trying to keep us too busy to understand fully the gravity of the situation and what is happening day to day. It's so important to balance the need to, maintain your mental health and not lose your mind, and also stay informed so that you know what's happening and you know what the Trump administration is doing. And that's a really tough balance. I'd be interested to know how you are, trying to keep that balance by letting me know in the comments below. But these threats are scary, genuinely scary. But we have to stand together and we have to keep fighting. My name is Brittany Page. It has been an honor and a joy to be here with you today. I am so grateful to Jesse for allowing me to guest host while he is sick. We all hope he is back soon, and he would love to know what you think about this, just like he always does. You can call and leave a fewer than 3-minute voicemail at 714-576-4054, or by sending an email to daily@dollemore.com. You can support the work here on the channel by becoming a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month by clicking the join button below, or you can go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. That's the podcast that we host together. And I know that Jesse is eager to be back talking about all of these issues with you because he thinks it is so important. And I know he's happy to have you here in the conversation on his channel. Please share his channel with a friend. Please make sure you're subscribed. Do all the things that help that pesky YouTube algorithm. And as Jesse would say, be genuine and take care of one another.